Okay, this is the interpreting integrals worksheet that I handed out in class, and I want to go over what this is saying. So, reservoir, some kind of body to hold water for um, irrigation or farming or whatever reason, for city water, is now filling up in the rainy season. It was drawn down over the summer. Let f of t represent the level in feet of the reservoir above empty, and t be the number of weeks that have passed in the year. So, and then little f of t is the derivative of the height. So, little f is the change in the depth. So, this says after 2 weeks, the height was 4 feet above empty. After 10 weeks, it's 9 feet above empty. After 22 weeks, it's 11 feet above empty. Now, this is the area under the change graph, which tells you how much the change is between 5 weeks and 10 weeks. The change is 3 feet. This says between 10 weeks and 18 weeks, the change was 1.5 feet. 10 to 18 weeks in that change, it was 1.5 feet higher. Between 18 and 25, it was 3.5 feet higher. So, integrals talk about change, and this talks about what it is. So here we're supposed to find out how high was it above empty after 18 weeks. Well, it doesn't tell us, but it says between 10 and 18, it went up 1.5. Well, if at 10 it was at 9 feet, and between 10 and 18 it went up 1.5 feet more, it must be 10.5 feet above empty after 18 weeks. So, did I state the value? 10.5. Did I state the meaning? It means it's above 10.5 above that. Did I include units? Yes, feet and weeks. Oop, and I didn't have that where you could see it. So value is 10.5, meaning above empty, including units, 18 weeks and 5 feet. Need to do all those. So now I need to say what happened after 5 weeks. Again, it doesn't give us after 5 weeks. But it says between 5 and 10, it went up 3 feet. And by 10, it was at 9 feet. So 5, it must have been 3 feet lower so that it could go up to 9. So at 5, it must be 3 lower than 9, so it must be 6 feet above after 5 weeks. So I gave the value, I gave the units, and I explained what it means. So now I want to know how high is it after 25 weeks. Well, they gave me 22, but we don't know what happened after 22. We know what happened after 18. It went up 3.5 to get to 25. So do I know what it was at 18? Well, I figured that out here. So 10.5 plus 3.5 is 14 by 25 weeks. It's 14 feet above AFTR after 25 weeks. Okay, this is an integral. Integrals are changes. How much did the water level change between 2 weeks and 5 weeks? Well, at 2 weeks it was at 4. At 5 weeks it was at 6. So it went from 4 to 6, it changed 2 feet. Went from, check that, 4 to 6. That's 2 feet more. How much did it change between 5 and 25? Well, 5 we figured out as 6. 25 we figured out as 14. 6 to 14 is 8. Now this one, this is between 5 weeks and 18 weeks. This is the change divided by the amount of week time it took place. So this must be the average rate of change, the average value of this change function. So between 5 and 18, between 5 and 18 is 4.5. More feet divided by a change in time of 13 weeks, which is, if I pull out a calculator, find it here. Uh, 4.5 divided by 13 0.346. 0.346 feet per week was the average, on average, it increased 0.346 feet per week. 3.46 feet per week was the average increase, because it's positive, in the depth above empty. It's important to get the word average, because this is an average value of this function, not the average value of the total amount, but the average of the rate of change of the height. So on average, it was increasing by 0.34 feet per week. Okay. All right. Some of you may not know the difference between an even and an odd function. You know that y equals x looks like that. You know that y equals x squared looks like that. You know y equals x to the third looks like that. And you know y equals x to the fourth looks something a little flatter at the bottom than a parabola, but something like that. And these even ones are symmetric with the y-axis. Whatever's on one side is the same on the other side. And these odd-powered ones are symmetric with the origin. If they go over and up, you can go back and down the same amount. Over and up, back and down. They match up across from the origin. If it goes through 1, 1, it goes through minus 1, minus 1. If it goes through 2, 8, and it goes through minus 2, minus 8. If it goes through, if it was a cosine curve, is that odd or even? Well, it's symmetric with the y-axis, so it's even. And sine, it goes so this point was 3 pi over 2 minus 1. And so this point is minus 3 pi over 2 plus 1. Across from the origin is a matching point. So it is odd. So that's kind of the idea of odd and even. Okay, so we're supposed to have an even function, which means whatever it does on the right side of the y-axis looks the same on the left side. So it says here, let's see, the smallest, this goes from minus 2 to 5. This goes from 2 to 5. So I'm going to go look at 2 to 5. And it says it has an area of 4 under it. So whatever this graph looks like, there's a plus 4 area between here and there. So, you know, it could be some kind of something like that. Between minus 2 and 5, the total area is minus 9. Well, if there's 4 here, there's got to be a lot of negative here to come out to be minus 9. In fact, it would have to be minus 13 between here and here to make the total area from here to here to be negative 9. And since it's even, it's symmetric, half of the 13 has to be on this side, so that would be 6.5 negative and negative 6.5 on this side. And since it's even and it's 4 over here between 2 and 5, between minus 5 and minus 2, there has to be 4 also, so that it looks the same on either side of the y-axis. So how much area is there from minus 2 to 0? Minus 2 to 0, there's negative 6.5. From minus 2 to 2, that was minus 13. From minus 2 to minus 5, well, that's backwards. We're supposed to go from minus 5 to minus 2. So if it's backwards, it changes the sign. So it's not 4, but negative 4. So now we have an odd one. Oops, bumped the camera. 2 to 5 is the smallest one. So I'm going to go 2 and 5. And it says it's minus 9. So there's negative 9 in here. Since it's odd, that means over here between minus 5 and minus 2, it has to be plus 9. And it says from minus 5 to 0 is 4. Well, if we have plus 9 already, this must be minus 5 to make 4. And if this is minus 5, since it's odd, it has to be plus 5 here. So opposite, across from the origin, point symmetry. All right, so what is there between minus 2 and 0? Minus 2 to 0 is negative 5. Between 2 and minus 2, from here to here, well, that's minus 5 plus 5. But we're going backwards, so it's minus 5 plus 5. Still comes out to be 0. So it doesn't matter that these are backwards, because on an odd function, they're going to cancel out on even distances from the origin. 2 on this side and 2 on this side, they're going to be 0. From minus 2 to minus 5. That's backwards. It should be minus 5 to minus 2. It says 9, so we have to call it negative 9.